Okay, so this is the first of many post-lesson feedback. Just to go over a few points for a few students, what I would expect you to have done is to have written down label the sides A, B, and C. Why A, B? How do we know which is A, B, or C? C is the hypotenuse, the longer side. So once you know that it's C, A, and B, you can label it either one. So we're trying to work, so the general formula is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So this is the formula you need to be very, very familiar with when it comes to using working at the length of right angle triangles. And the next thing we do now is substitution. So you start with substitution. So let's put the letters, let's replace the letters with the numbers that we see here. So A is 8, so that's 8 squared, plus B is 6, so that's 6 squared, that equals C squared. We don't know what C is. So if you're not familiar with your squaring numbers, madre mia, what is going on? We would do the following. So we would have 8, and then you get your calculator, 8 squared plus 6 squared. It's too small, need to make it bigger. That gives you 100. And we now have, so C squared equals 100. If you think about this, it's a number times by a number equals 100. Square root that, and C equals 10. So in this case, X is 10. Okay, for this one we have A, we have B, and we have C. Let's get a different color pen. And that gives us A is 16. A is 16, B is 6. So if we use the general formula that we had earlier, which was A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 16, so 16 squared plus 6 squared equals C squared. So 16 squared, get your calculators out. So 16 squared, so 16 squared plus 6 squared is 292. So C squared, let's go down, let's forget that I'm not working with a piece of paper. So C squared equals 292. To work out what C is by itself, we square root 292 to give us C. So the square root of 292, so the square root of our answer, we want it, I did say 2 decimal places. So C equals 17 point. That would be 09. So 17 point. So if we have, I'm just going to write down 088. Because I've said 2 decimal places, we're looking at 17.0, and that goes up to a 9. So this would be 17.09. Okay, and the last one, last but not least, we have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I'm just going to write down here A equals 16, B equals 12. I should write 12 centimeters, but for the sake of efficiency, I am speeding through this very quickly. So let's plug these numbers into our calculator. Let's substitute them. So 16 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. Now we know what 16 squared is. It was from there, but we'll just go with our calculator because we want to be efficient with using our calculator. 16 squared plus 12 squared. So we square both sides, and that gives us 400. So c squared equals 400. So when the two numbers that when you multiply together give us 400. You may be able to do that in your head already. However, part of this is being able to use the calculator. So we'll find the radical sign and put the number 400 in there, and c equals 20. And if I was being really pedantic, I would say 20 centimeters. So even though it says x here, this would be 20 centimeters. And here's another set of questions. You may want to pause, have a go at this yourself. I'll just continue with my explanations, but you can pause at any time, just come back to it later. Okay, so let's start with labeling the sides. So we have our A, B, and we have C. The formula we had was a squared plus b squared equals c squared. It's a bit of a challenge, so it does require us to think what we're trying to find. But for now, let's plug in the numbers that we know. So I don't know what this x is, so I'll leave it as it is. You could leave x in there. Plus, I do know what b is. B is 12, so that'll be 12 squared equals c is 16 squared. So if I work this one out, that would be a squared plus 144 equals, that's 12 squared, 16 times 16, 256, don't judge me, 256. So if you think for a second, so we need a number squared plus 144 equals 256, but for now we'll just work it out. So we're trying to solve for a squared, so we would subtract 144, that's a 1 there, subtract 144 from both sides, that's a minus. So this goes away, and that gives you a squared equals, so 256 minus, so that would be so 112. The square root of 112, when we square root everything, is going to give us, if we get a calculator, let's double check, 256 minus 144 is indeed 112, and the square root of that is 2 decimal places. So if I write down the whole numbers I see in the calculator, I can't do that, can I? Because it goes away. 10,583, 2 decimal places, that would be 58. So 58. So this side here that we're missing is 10.58. Okay, on to the next one. Let's get a different color pen. So we have our it's a whole new world to get used to. We have A here, B, and we have C. We know what A is, so the formula there is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I know what A is. A is 12 squared plus, I don't know what b is, so b squared equals 16 squared. So we have a squared, so 140, 12 squared, 144 plus b squared equals 16 squared. So we have b squared equals, this I'm going to show you a shortcut, so 256 minus 144. B squared equals 112. Therefore, b by itself, when we square root that, get your calculator. You may know the answer already, because you may have seen that. Square root it, and we will have b squared. That should be a square. That's a radical sign. Radical sign. Okay. It's called the radical sign. That would be 10.58 to 2 decimal places. So the side that we're missing, b, is 10.58 centimeters. Okay, and for the last question in this section, these lines, what do they mean? You may have seen them. So if you had a triangle, and you had 2 lines going across, let's go with 3 lines. What would that be? What kind of triangle? Correct, that would be an equilateral. And that will tell us all the sides are the same, so 666 for example. Now, what if you have what we have here? Okay, and that would be a isosceles. And what do you know about two isosceles? It would have 2 equal length. Oopsie daisy. So 2 sides will be the same. So in this case, this side is 7.5, this is also 7.5, and we will have, so where's C? C is X. Okay, so this is C, that's A, and that's B. So let's put the numbers that we have. So A is 7.5 squared plus 7.5. Doing this in the calculator. Now that we've done 5 questions, so on your calculator there's a quicker way you can just do all of this, and that is you can put everything under the radical sign. So you'll have 7.5 squared plus 7.5 squared. So everything's under the radical sign, so we're skipping a step here, and that gives you 15 root 2 over 2, which is, as a decimal number, 10.60. Am I right? 10.60. We said 2 decimal place, so because of the 6 there, it would be 10.61 centimeters. So the answer here, C, is 10. The length here is 10.61 centimeters. Any questions about Pythagoras? Let me know. We will be continuing on with this topic.